Hey, yo, what's the deal, man? It's your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to come on to do this topic, for a while now, today was an okay day. Today was, if you hear something like banging, don't worry, I'm not washing dishes and such. I'm actually preparing food for tomorrow, so when I come out of work, I'll be able to have some good food, boy. I'm preparing stuff for hot dogs, baby. Hot dogs! Hot dogs! Hot dogs! Hot dogs! You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Today was an okay day for me. I went, I actually went downtown Brooklyn, to do a little shopping. I bumped into this girl who I have not seen in God knows how long. Mad long. Like, light-skinned girl. Red bone. I haven't seen her because we was in a job program at one point. Now I haven't seen her since 2007. Since 2007, 2008 actually. I say around 2008, 2009. That was the last time I seen her face to face. So it was good to see, it's good to see people who I have not seen in forever. I wanted to do this topic because, there was something that, oh shit, cause this, I'll be fine. There was something that I wanted to talk about. There's something I wanted to talk about because, there's a lot of changes, if you will, with how pro wrestling is, and hold on real quick. Let me just set this up. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to, mix some stuff. But, there's a lot of changes in the pro wrestling landscape in terms of, the independents and the major leagues and everything else. And, the territory system was way different than today's landscape. Today's pro wrestling landscape where it is, it's a bunch of indie promotions that's there, right? And listen, for the most part, independent wrestling is good. Because this is how they scout. This is how the big leagues scout, the stars of the future. This is how WWE scouts the stars of the future. But they also have developmental, right? And the territories has not been active in the territory system has not been active in about 4 decades? And it had me thinking, of a real interesting question. Could the territory system work in today's pro wrestling landscape? And the answer is yes, it can. It can. It truly can. Because you're going to have promotions who's going to be lined up with, who's going to have alliances with other promotions. Right? It doesn't matter what you are and who you are. Right? You are going to have your alliances. Just like WWE has with TNA, and they have with Pro Wrestling Noah. Well, it's mostly TNA. AEW has their alliances with New Japan Pro Wrestling and CMLL and blah, blah, blah. But we're talking about the independents, and if the independents, could the independents actually be aligned with alliances? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Because again, the indies is just the indies. Anyone can work an indie. It's not, anyone can work any indie. Anybody can work any fucking indie. It doesn't matter what it is. So let's say let me give an example. Let's say Deadlock Pro Wrestling, right, which is a top independent wrestling promotion in the United States, right? A top one. Let's say if they are in alliance with WWE, right? So what WWE can do is, WWE can have Deadlock Pro Wrestling and a bunch of other independent promotions in their alliance, in their territory. Just work for them. You know what I mean? Work for them, where WWE can scout talent from those territories, from those promotions in that territory, right? And bring them up to NXT and then onto the main roster, right? I mean, they was doing that. They was trying to do that with Evolve. They clearly was trying to do that with Evolve. For mine, it was just one promotion. It wasn't like, it wasn't like it was a shitload of promotions. We're talking about just one promotion, And I think, like I said, I do think a situation like that can work. Because again, all you got to do is just take a bunch of different indie promotions, and just create some sort of alliance there where their champions can go here, their wrestlers can only go here to this promotion, that promotion, and so on and so forth. And then WWE can scout talent, from NXT, and also like bring people from the PC and then have them, on an excursion to wrestle in those indies, right? To wrestle in those in those territory indies, right? Territorial indies, and they could build stuff from the ground up. I mean, it could work. It honestly, it could truly work. Because again, it's anyone can work any indie. It doesn't matter what it is. And sometimes these independent, sometimes these wrestlers can go out of control with, showing up in different places. It becomes tiring a bit. Like imagine if I'm an indie darling and fucking Deadlock Pro Wrestling has an issue with Major League Wrestling, right? It made, Deadlock, Major League Wrestling, and let me see, Pro Wrestling Revolver, right? And, they're supposed to be competitors, but I work for all three competitors, right? As an independent wrestler. I'm like, it might look cool and stuff, but for a viewer, I'm like, I just see this dude here. I don't want to see this dude over here. Like, stay in one spot. Stay in one fucking spot. Unless you are wrestling in a big promotion and then you go down to indie. No, but I don't want to see that. I honestly do not want to see that. Like, it doesn't make sense. Especially if most, when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about like TV wise. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see, fucking, let's say wrestler X on four different TV wrestling shows. Like, it's not gonna work. It becomes tiresome after a long time. But unless you are a territory, that's different. That's different. But also remember, the territories actually happen via region. So you had the Southeast territory, you had this territory, you had that territory. That's where it basically made a lot of sense. And such, but I do think that the territory system could work. I honestly do think so. In today's day and age, I think so. And from what I understand, WWE is trying to do something like that, with the alliances that they have with Noah and TNA, and fucking, if they could get AAA, that would be a cool right there. That would be, a huge coolness, but that would be a nice feather in their cap. If they could get AAA, because man, the shit that AEW did with AAA, no bueno. Again, it could work. It could work. Do I think it's ever gonna happen? No. That's just that's just me. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I think what we see now, is basically just alliances based off of of talent relationships. So like with WWE and TNA, I think that is going to be as close as a territory relationship as you're ever going to get. Because mind you, they're both in Florida. They're both in Florida. They're both in Florida, and NXT is down there in Florida. TNA and such. I mean, it makes sense aesthetically. Especially with the Endeavor. Especially with the Endeavor, with the Endeavor, connection there. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. Now I'm thinking about it. I think, with the Endeavor umbrella, that is where you're gonna see. Think, damn, I'm watching boxing, and you got this guy just knocking him the fuck out. I'm watching this thing called Star Boxing, which is on the Yes Network. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we're ever going to see that. The only thing that I think we're going to see, especially if this is from WWE, is, and I don't know if Triple H is still thinking about doing this, where he has NXTs, all over the globe. Remember the global expansion? But I think he stopped that because I think, especially like in the European wrestling scene, is dead. It's dead. Because that was in correlation with the indies, but remember he wanted to do different NXTs all across the globe, but that basically has died. I mean, just like NXT Europe has died. I do think that they want to get into the Japanese market. That's why they got the deal with Noah, and I don't think that deal is finished. I think there's going to be more from it. So, all right, guys, I just wanted to bring this up. This video is actually going to be going up on Friday at 3:30. Friday at 3:30. 3:30. No, 3:45. It's gonna go up at 3:45 and such. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Unless something else comes up, I'll be on my P's and Q's and such. All right, so I'm gonna holler at y'all. Peace.